Welcome back, Book Fiends, to Wicked Good Books, a channel dedicated to books and things book adjacent. My name is Nick, and I'm the host of this channel. What's up, Book Fiends? Today we'll be talking about something that I've been trying to put together for a couple days now, and just life in general has gotten in the way, but I'm super excited to talk about it. It is the reveal, a cover art reveal for Stormlight Archive Book 4. Artist Whelan has blessed us once again with one of his incredible pieces of artwork for this series, and I can't wait to discuss it with you. I've been anticipating this announcement for a couple months now after the Bulgarian art release for this book, which is also stunning work. If you haven't seen it, maybe I'll try and link it over here or something so you can see it for a split second. Maybe I'll put it on the screen. It's beautiful and very similar to the US cover that we just got. So it makes me think that the characters on this cover are going to be of some importance to the new book. But let's get into it. I'm just going to put this right out there. This is going to be a spoiler discussion or a short discussion. I feel like most people that are actually excited about this are more than likely fans of the book series and have been reading along. This is the fourth book in a large scope series. I think he has planned for 10 books. So if you're watching this and you haven't read books 1, 2, and 3, just know that I'm going to be talking about light spoilers in terms of characters' names and locations. But honestly, I might slip up and drop a spoiler here and there. So if you haven't read those books and you want to, this is a good place to pause and come back later after you've read them because they're really amazing. But with that being said, this point on, we're going to be talking about spoilers in regards to these covers because I don't feel like I can really discuss them without talking about the contents of the cover. It'd be kind of like watching a trailer for the 4th Harry Potter film, but not being able to talk about the characters that are in the trailer. It wouldn't, for fans that have been watching and reading so far, I just feel like it's not beneficial to you, and it's not really fun for me to have to, censor myself and think about, I can't really let my thoughts run free or talk to you guys about what I'm thinking about the cover without dropping a few little spoilers. So, moving on. Before we get into the cover reveal, which I'm sure many of you have seen before because this video is late and I was hoping to get it done a couple days ago, I cannot express enough how excited I am for this book. It's coming out in November 2020, and this book series it's one of my favorite book series of all time. Between this and Wheel of Time, Stormlight Archive and Wheel of Time, they're pretty much my two favorite epic fantasy series. If you follow my Goodreads, I'm on book 4 of Wheel of Time and loving it, and I actually scrapped my review for Dragon Reborn. It's coming along. It came out okay, but I have a better idea. I think I'm going to condense the first 4 books into a discussion and review kind of video with some spoilers. What I really want to talk about before we get into the new cover reveal, and maybe talk about the Bulgarian cover reveal also, is the first 3 books first before we jump into the 4th book, just to see where we started from and how we've gotten here and how they've progressed. This is going to be more of like a gushing about what's on the cover as far as the content goes and the story goes. I'm not really going to get into like concepts or typography or framing or composition of the art. I think it's beautiful. I do think it's very similar to Words of Radiance's composition, and kind of all of them, to be honest, but I think that's sort of like par for the course. I think that's sort of what Michael Whelan is doing with all these covers. Similar to the Wheel of Time covers, actually. So let's get right into it. Book 1, Way of Kings. We have Adolin on the cover, reaching out his shard blade across the shattered plains to what we now know as a Parshendi. Pretty awesome. I don't remember if the back... Yes, the landscape of that one is more of just a spread of the shattered plains and the Everstorm behind him. I worked at Borders while I was in college a long time ago, and I remember seeing Way of Kings on the shelves very often in paperback form, and I just never picked it up. It always intimidated me. It seemed like too long. I just couldn't get into it, and I remember my brother actually read it, and he put me onto it. I'm so happy he did. It literally is one of my favorite book series of all time. I can't stress that enough. And just like Wheel of Time, the length of these books doesn't bother me anymore. I actually get like anxiety about when they're going to end because I don't want them to end. I kind of want them to read forever. Kind of like how I felt when I was reading the Harry Potter books for the first time. You kind of want them to just keep going. You don't want to leave those worlds, which I think is testament to Sanderson's ability to create such a colorful, vibrant world that's so different than any other fantasy series that I've read. Mostly because it has so much science fiction elements sprinkled into it, but I think some of the imagery he's created in the environment, the fact that the environment is living and alive, and just to me it's so vibrant, it really sticks out past so much of the medieval or Celtic-inspired fantasy that we see, which is nothing wrong with those things. I love me some Game of Thrones and some Remedy Feist, but as a huge fan of D&D and a huge fan of the fantasy genre, I just feel like Stormlight Archive and Wheel of Time really touch on what fantasy can do and push those limits even further, especially sprinkling in some of the science fiction elements into both of them. So, but with the second cover, Words of Radiance, which is my favorite book of all time, it has been that way since the day I finished it. I've read it 3 times so far. I've read it physically 3 times and twice now on graphic audio, which if you haven't read these books in graphic audio form, you will not hear me stop talking about them on this channel. I love the graphic audio for these books. I can't speak to other graphic audios for other books. I've only ever read the Stormlight books that way, or listened to them that way. But it is truly in my personal opinion, one of the only ways to consume this book in its entirety. Between the sound effects, the music, the acting for all the different characters, it really brings this world to life in a way that even me with a pretty vivid imagination would not have been able to do without its help. And I highly recommend, if you haven't checked out the graphic audio for Stormlight Archive, definitely download it, check it out where you can find it. It's really wonderful. But Words of Radiance, favorite book of all time. On this cover we have Kaladin, Stormblessed, diving down, looks like he's absorbing some stormlight. And in the full print, I believe we see Seth on top of a body of other shard bearers and members of Dalinar's army, I believe. And those of us who've read the book know that that moment was one of the most climactic moments of that book, or arguably one of the most climactic moments. And it's really great that Michael Whelan was able to capture it that way. And then we have Oathbringer with my girl Yasna on the cover. It's my favorite characters of the series so far. I was really bummed that she wasn't in it as much in Oathbringer. Oathbringer is probably, I don't want to say it's my least favorite of the 3 so far, because I did really enjoy it. I was thinking about actually putting together a review for it, because there's a lot of things that I loved about it, and there's a lot of things that I just did not like about it. As far as the cover goes, though, it's a beautiful cover with Yasna using her shard blade and her powers to seal up the wall with a thunderclast stepping over it. Just, again, another huge climactic moment from this series and from this book, and it was really cool to see it come to life, as well as see Yasna represented right on the cover. I really wish that she was in the book more. She's my favorite character of the series. And which is actually one of my beefs with that cover, actually, is that so far with Adolin on the cover of Way of Kings, I feel like he's in that book a lot, and he's not the primary focus. I would say Kaladin probably is, give or take, but I do believe Adolin had substantial moments in that story to be on the cover. And then with Kaladin on the cover of 2, it makes total sense. Between him and Shallan, it was pretty 50-50. And then with the third book, I feel like if someone who's read it, and I'm sure some of you might feel this way too, I feel like Dalinar should have been on the cover of Oathbringer. I mean, it's called Oathbringer. I feel like he should have been front line center. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Yasna on the cover of the third book, but I was kind of, after finishing, I'm kind of like, why wasn't Dalinar on the cover of this book? I feel like it's his book. But anyways, yeah, that's the first 3 books. One thing I did want to talk about too with these books that I love this book series so much that I literally own the paperbacks, the trade paperbacks, and the hardcovers of all 3 of them, and the graphic audios. And one of my favorite parts about the hardcovers is they have art on the interior of them. We have 4 pieces of beautiful art of some of the heralds from this world. I think it's beautiful, especially the ones that you can see Spren in them. That's stunning. I was kind of hoping that they went with the Words of Radiance approach, which we got almost like a second cover on the inside, which I really enjoyed. I don't know if you've seen this piece of art. It is one of my favorite pieces of art in the Stormlight Archive, and that's Shallan on the cliffs, the Shattered Plains drawing. It is just beautiful. It's one of my favorite covers. I almost secretly wish this was the cover of Words of Radiance. She is one of my favorite characters of the story. I do love Kaladin, and I do love they chose to put him on the cover of this book. And this also makes me wonder what they're going to do for the 4th book and what's going to be on the inside. I kind of hope that they go back to the almost like a second bonus cover with the hardcover. I just love this book. It means so much to me, both the time when I read it, how I felt while I was reading it, the vibes it gives me, and how many times I've reread it. Just everything about this book. It means a lot to me, and if you couldn't tell, I definitely need to get another copy of this book. It's pretty beat up. I mean, it shows it's been loved, right? But I think it's pretty beat and sun damaged. But I'm really curious to see what's going to be on the inside flap of Rhythm of War. To be honest with you, I'm surprised that Rhythm of War doesn't have a Parshendi on the cover, just because with their language, and it just seems strange that he chose Shallan. I'm excited, she's one of my favorite characters, but similar to Oathbringer, where I love Yasna so much, and I'm so happy she's out there on the cover doing her thing. But it kind of would have made way more sense for Dalinar to be on the cover. Not that the main character or the main point of view has to be on the cover, but I just felt like Oathbringer, this book specifically, had so much to do with Dalinar. I mean, his memoir is literally called Oathbringer. I feel like he should have been on the cover, but at the same time, I'm not complaining because I love Yasna on the cover. She's one of my favorite characters of the whole story, or the whole series. A little bummed that her screen time wasn't as great in this one. I don't mind the art prints that we got with Oathbringer. I think that's pretty cool too. I'm just kind of hoping to get it spoiled a little bit and get 2 different kind of covers with Rhythm of War, which now we're going to talk about it. Rhythm of War, Book 4 in the Stormlight Archive. I am so excited for this book. It comes out in November, like I said earlier. This cover is beautiful. The moment I saw it, I thought of the Bulgarian cover art that they had released several months back, which looks very similar, with Shallan and Adel on the cover. At first I thought it was Dalinar because I saw the whitish hair, but on closer inspection, I think it's the moonlight reflecting off his hair, making it look silver. But we have Shallan on a cover finally, even though she's kind of on the Words of Radiance inner flat. But I'm hoping that, unlike Yasna on Oathbringer, that this doesn't mean that Shallan's going to be in the background too much. I do love her character. But just talking about the cover, right out the gate, just off-the-cuff feelings here. One of the first thing I thought of when I saw it was Shadesmar, which I don't think is accurate after talking to some my fellow Stormlight fans and friends. I think it actually might be the Pure Lake. I remember Dalinar saying something in a flashback, one of his dream sequences, about a black obelisk in the Pure Lake. And it looks like there's water back here, and they're like on the in the brush or something, almost like the Everglades looking. But we have the black obelisk here with the water in the background. But it's all this spren and bending of world and bending of reality and matter that's twisting behind Shallan that makes me think it's Shadesmar. I also kind of think this is them stepping out of Shadesmar into the Pure Lake, or somewhere near it, which is pretty cool too. We have these streaking comet lines coming down, going towards it looks like the moon, which is pretty stunning, as well as our man Adel over here kneeling, looking out at the Pure Lake with his shard blade in hand, and it looks like this beautiful rainbow effect gleaming off his shard blade, which I think is really kind of cool. It looks like Shallan's holding something in her fingers. I want to say it's maybe a sphere or something else that I'm completely spacing on. I do notice that she's wearing a glove though, which is kind of cool. I can't remember if she rocks the glove in Oathbringer, but I'm glad that she's rocking Yasna style glove to be more practical when out in the field. I think it's really cool. My favorite parts about the Stormlight Archive is the vegetation, which sounds like so weird to say, but what fantasy series are you like? I love the trees. Maybe Lord of the Rings, the tree ends, but I love that the Stormlight Archive takes place on Roshar, and this environment and this setting is unlike anything that we are used to, or that we are accustomed to. I love that the scenery, the grass, the trees, the plants are all alive, just like the people and the animals that live in this world. And this cover, I feel like, really shows off a different setting that we've been in. I want to say, no, that's not true. I was going to say we've been on the Shattered Plains the entire time, but pretty close for all the covers. The Shattered Plains are beautiful, but we've been there for a while, and it's kind of nice to see one of these beautiful landscapes from Roshar brought to life with Michael Whelan's beautiful art. I love this darker compared to the others. The purple here really makes it pop. Indigo is my favorite color, and you put blue, indigo, and orange next to each other, and it just gives us this really moody, dark feeling. But since they're out and about traveling, and they're very far from where we left them in the last book, I get the sense that this book's going to have a bit of a sojourn, and I'm pretty excited to see what kind of journey these two get on together. I want to say it's the first time they've been out together, this far away from Urithiru or the camps. So that's really interesting too. I think what I like most about the Rhythm of War cover is that it has this moody, atmospheric vibe about it. I wouldn't say these ones don't, but there's something about it that kind of brings me back to why I love Stormlight Archive so much, is when the characters are traveling and they're out in the world, adventuring or seeking something out. Oathbringer is very war and pending doom feeling, and lots of flashbacks, and I loved all of them. It's very battle heavy, and I feel like this book might be more adventurous and more about discovery and seeking things out in the world, and especially if we're going to be in Pure Lake, it's one of the more interesting locations in my personal opinion. So I'm really looking forward to that, as well as Shallan and Adel being together on an adventure again. I think that's really great, especially after where we left them in Oathbringer. But yeah, I'm super excited to see where it goes. I really, really dig the cover. I hope other fans are digging it too. I think Michael Whelan's a phenomenal artist, and I just can't speak highly. I've been waiting for this cover for a few months now. I knew it was going to be a matter of time. The Bulgarian cover art, again, is gorgeous. Check it out. As well as the submissions for that contest that he did with that one. They're all stunning. And all the same scenes. So I'm wondering if Brendan Sanderson just gave them that one chapter and was just like, create this scene. But it's interesting that they're all kind of the same. They're all involve Shallan and Adel, or Shallan and Shadesmar, or wherever she is. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what this book's about. I have read none of the sample chapters or the free chapters that he's released on Tor Publishing. I don't like to read things in bits and pieces. I want to just consume it all at once. So I'm holding off. It's killing me to hold off, but I got Robert Jordan keeping me company. So Wheel of Time is definitely a really great distraction from waiting for Stormlight Archive books. I love them both dearly, so it's kind of like the perfect trade-off. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what your favorite Stormlight Archive cover is, if it's Rhythm of War or one of the previous ones, or if it's one of the other international covers. Some of the UK covers are pretty cool. They seem more minimalistic, but I'm really excited to talk about what covers you guys dig with the Stormlight Archive. But yeah, Rhythm of War comes out in November. I'm super excited to get into this book. I can't wait to be there at 9 a.m. at the bookstore with my pre-order to buy it. We don't get many books that come out like that much anymore that we wait in line for before they come out. And Stormlight Archive is one of those books for me. The internet's buzzing with it. I've been seeing a lot of posts and comparing it to the Bulgarian cover art, and it seems like this book cover has the fan base, I wouldn't say divided, but they're not sure how they feel about it yet. But in looking at the other 3 covers with similar color schemes going on, I'm really happy that they chose to do a darker color scheme for Rhythm of War. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the tone, but I do get the sense of this nighttime adventure trek across Roshar in the dead of night kind of thing. And there's something about that is just compelling and it already pulls me in, and I already want to know more about it. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm just really excited about this cover. I wanted to put together a small video for it to really discuss it with you guys. And how do you feel about the cover? Does it stick out to you? What do you feel about the other covers? Is there another character you thought would have been better on this cover? I'd love to hear that, those opinions from you guys. I promise I'm almost done with the vlog. I just kind of got busy and got sidetracked, and it's hard for me to record things on the daily with the new baby and my 6-year-old, and we got homeschool coming up, and working a full-time job. I'm trying to find little windows of time to shoot what I think is interesting. I don't want to just shoot stuff that I don't think anybody wants to see, including myself. But I do want to share some of my writing habits and maybe show you. I use Scrivener to write, so maybe I'll show off that. And if that's something you guys want to see more of, let me know. But that's coming along. Excited about that one. I think my next video is going to be Wheel of Time inspired, because I got some really deep thoughts about Shadow Rising that I can't wait to talk about on vlog form and Goodreads. Also, the other book covers that you guys really enjoyed, that doesn't have to be Michael Whelan, doesn't have to be Stormlight. If there are book covers that you just love and you want me to look into, if I haven't already seen them, drop them in the comments as well. I'd love to check them out. I love good cover art for science fiction and fantasy. I like simplistic art too, but sometimes you just need that sprawling tapestry, this scene captured in the moment of a book, just like the Wheel of Time books and just like the Stormlight books. I think it's just compelling and it pulls me in. It's my favorite kind of covers. So I'm really excited about this one. I'm really actually kind of happy with it. And yeah, that's it for today. As always, stay wicked, and I'll see you in the next one.